In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Side podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still back.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Krause. How you doing, Cash?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
You know, just a lovely Monday that we got here. In the studio, back at it, back to the work week.
Survived another pandemic week.
But you know what? Mondays are always so much better because I know that even though we're going back to work, you know, start of the work week, it's always awesome to get back in here and review some film.
Absolutely. And that is what we are going to do today. Today was your pick. I don't know if that's important or not.
Yes,
but,
it was, yeah.
But
it's my pick of the week or whatever we're
going to call it.
Yeah, we still don't know.
But it was an interesting pick.
Yeah, it was. Well, I got to be honest with you. I've heard a lot from a lot of different people, you including.
Yeah.
I forgot. We were talking about Judd Apatow or something to that effect, or maybe it was Kristen Wiig, and Bridesmaids got brought up. And I had confided in you, and I said, actually, I've never seen
Bridesmaids. You did confide, and I never told you. I didn't tell Soul.
You did
what you told me that
you
day.
did threaten to hit me with a bat.
Yeah, you did.
For
you
being
did
so
sit me
ignorant.
down. It was a very serious conversation.
I was getting a little misty-eyed.
Yeah, you said, look, this has been eating away at me.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to continue on with our friendship after I tell you this. I don't know how you're going to handle this, but I've never seen Bridesmaids.
And it did take me a little while to digest it. I had to leave immediately, leave the room.
Yeah.
To not hit you.
Well, and most
out
people,
of anger.
Most people don't know this, but that little break that we had in the podcast for about a week, about 6 months ago, that was actually in part of this.
Well,
it was a little fight that we had on
to
the
take
podcast.
a little sabbatical because I just couldn't believe my ears. I could not
And-
believe. How could you not see the funniest film of 2011? How'd you miss it?
I'm not proud of myself.
What were you doing?
Well, I think I was a junior in high school.
Junior in high school.
So
yeah.
Probably other things.
I was also a junior in high
You
school.
were, but
so
you
there's
did
no
see it.
excuses.
There's no excuses.
There's
just
no
results.
excuses.
God
Well,
dang
this
it.
film was on my radar because I actually saw this film in theaters.
Really?
Yes, I knew it was going to be that good. And this is a film that I really felt was mismarketed. It really, when it came out in advertising, they made it seem like it was a chick flick.
Chick flick.
You know, because there was thousands of those fucking 27 dresses.
Oh, in the early 2010s?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hundreds.
Sex in the City in 2008?
I mean, hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds. But yeah, so it was really so I think a lot of people thought that it was like a chick flick, you know, just another bride's movie or whatever. But it's not. I knew Judd Apatow and I knew Kristen Wiig, who was coming off. I mean, who was in SNL, I think, at the time.
Yes, at the time she was
one of the greatest performers. So I knew I had good hopes.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, like she was writing this while on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She would take her notes on the weekends and go and compare them.
And she would go on to win an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay from this film. Is that crazy?
Not the only award it was nominated for either. It was also nominated for best performance by an actress in a supporting role.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy. And then best writing, as you had already brought up, Kristen Wiig and Annie Molo.
But it's not often that a comedy wins for best original screenplay.
No,
very unlikely.
Hardly ever.
And this film is one of the examples I always bring up when to argue that comedy movies do not have to be stupid and still be good. They can still get these really, really high reviews and still be hilarious without having to sacrifice being really, really stupid. This film is so good and it is so damn funny. If you have not seen this film, it is so damn funny from start to finish. And all of the actresses just work perfectly together.
I got to tell you, like, talk about a star-studded cast. Every single time, even the cameos, I'm like, geez, this has got to be the most star-studded film cast I've ever seen in the last 10 years.
Well, remember, it was pre-2011, so this was right before Melissa McCarthy blew up. This is the film that put her on the spot.
How about
it's her,
Rebel
like,
Wilson,
her first film.
too?
Rebel Wilson,
She
exactly.
had
She has such a small role. But yeah, they all just blew up for sure. And Ellie Kemper from The Office.
Yep.
Who was in The Office, but then she went on to do, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which is a huge hit. Yeah, everyone in this is hilarious. It works very, very well.
Well, I found something really crazy about this. Obviously, we talk about a star-studded cast. John Hamm was in this film.
Uncredited.
Uncredited because at the time he was like in Mad Men and all these Mad Men. And all these like very serious roles. So he wanted to be uncredited as to not give the wrong impression in the marketing, thinking that this film was serious.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the one I brought up. This one's even crazier. So before John Hamm made it into Hollywood, and he plays Ted in this movie, he used to be a high school drama teacher.
I did read that, yeah.
And what's even more astonishing about that is Ellie Kemper used to be one of his students.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like it was in California or something. It was in Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
Out of all places.
And imagine it fucking John Hamm being your high school
drama teacher.
Take it easy, okay? This is like the 8th edition of Pippin we've done. Like, it's not that serious. He's like, just get in the fucking role. He's yelling at you like he's on.
Missing your cues.
If you haven't seen Mad Men, it is like a revelation
it's a great show.
For film. His role is just insane in Mad Men.
There's times where you hate him.
Oh, you hate him throughout the show?
Yeah.
He's the worst character of all time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's written so well. But you feel for him.
You feel bad for
but,
his wife, January.
But yeah, and oh man, January Jones, she's unbelievable in the show. She's unbelievable in real life as well. But
absolutely.
But yeah, he works really well. And everyone has always said, even like during Mad Men, everyone on like the set of Mad Men would always say how funny John Hamm. That's like the number one thing I've ever heard from anyone say is how funny he is in real life.
Well, in any of his comedic films that he's been in, I've thought he's pretty damn funny.
He's really good. He has really good
comedic timing.
I just will always know him from Mad Men. And I'll always kind of hate him. Because, man, if you watch that film, he's the worst person.
What's crazy about Mad Men, one of the first shows that I watched through mail-in Netflix. Do you remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do I remember those days?
Well, I would get those. I would get the seasons and watch them. And I was like, it's just crazy now. Anyway, a side note.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you know this was the highest grossing R-rated film, female comedy of all time?
I did know that, and it beat out, thank fucking God, it beat out Sex in the City as the highest grossing. I mean, I don't want to be a dick, but it looks bad for women. It looks real bad.
Sex in the City is the highest.
Yeah, and I get people love Sex in the City.
Yeah,
I get it, but my God, dude, that fucking show. I've watched an episode. Yeah. It's just fucking cliche, It's so cliche. But yeah, I mean, thank God this is the film that this will be the one to beat for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
because it's so good.
Here's the numbers for you. The budget for this film is an estimated $32.5 million. On opening weekend, almost made all that back on opening weekend, made $26 million. But the overall gross in the USA was $169 million. The worldwide gross was $288 million.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's wild. It's crazy, man. I remember it's crazy this film was made in 2011. That's insane. Time is flying.
It is flying.
That's crazy, but because I remember just all the talk this film was getting when it came out, just how great it was, it put Paul Feig on the map, because he was known for The Office and stuff like that. And then he just went on to do a bunch of fucking mundane films, and eventually he rolled on into The Ghostbusters, which is from a lot of people from Bridesmaids. It's Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. Yep. And that it kind of ruined him. Yeah. So he has not been able to duplicate the success of Bridesmaids. He did another film. He did Spy with Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, I did see that one.
What's her name, man? God damn, it's going to kill me. But it was with...
Sarah Bullock?
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
not Sarah. Sarah might be her sister. I don't know.
Sandra and
But
Sarah.
yeah, Spy with Sandra Bullock, which is it was just fucking. Oh no, Spy is the one with Rose Byrne and Jason Statham. It's also just average, but the one with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy, it's also directed by Paul Feig. But I can't. They're cops or something,
I don't know.
aren't
Yeah,
they?
something like
They're
that.
not spies in that
I
one.
have no idea.
It's the same thing in every one now.
It
It's
is.
just Melissa McCarthy falling down and she just again. I don't think she's done anything as good as Bridesmaids since this either. But this was just the perfect movie. I mean, it caught lightning in a bottle.
It did.
Because it is just so good. Even the side characters are all hilarious. All the bridesmaids are funny. I like Kimber and them, and it's just I can't speak highly enough.
In one of the greatest aspects of this film was the relationship between Annie and Helen.
Oh yeah, Rose Byrne, man, she's great too. She's
they
someone that
really hated each other.
Oh yeah, she's someone that always has done drama films as well. She's hilarious.
She was really
you
funny.
You could tell
in
there
this.
was so much improv done. It feels super fucking loose. It feels, but it's. I mean, when you have the best improvers in the world, it fucking works. You can't do that for every movie where you can just go, okay, now kind of go on your own, you know.
Well, interestingly enough, the main cast for this film took 2 weeks to just work improv throughout the script, like to just work with each other.
Well, yeah,
and
it
they
works.
actually fed so much of that into this film.
It's perfect.
Yes.
I guess we should just talk about probably the funniest scene in the movie, and it's I don't know if you just told me about it, I would say, oh, that sounds so stupid, simple. But it's the shit scene, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, that's the one I wrote down.
yeah,
too. Absolutely.
I mean, it's so good, man. It just, I mean, and it seems like again like cliche for poop. Poop's funny,
Poop
but
and
man, it's done so well. Well, it is just hilarious. Melissa McCarthy again just steals the entire every scene she's in. She steals it. This character that she plays.
Well, and just right before this scene, it was hilarious to me because they're all out to dinner and they're trying to get in, and they're like, "Oh no, you got to schedule an appointment." I mean, we're booked 7 weeks out, and then Helen goes on, "Hey, it's Helen," and she's like, "Oh, come on in, girl."
Well, before they go to the Brazilian barbecue,
they do. Never a good idea.
Never a good idea.
No, especially
Brazilian barbecue, and
of course Helen was the only one not to eat because she didn't want to ruin her fitting.
Yeah, and and again, who goes to a fitting and fills up on barbecue before?
Yeah, you would do that after.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that scene where Helen is trying to get Kristen Wiig's character to like eat the almond, she's pretending like she's not sick. It's so funny because she is drenched in sweat
and she looks pale as a ghost.
And she's trying to get her to eat, and she's like choking this almond down, and they're all gagging. But it's hilarious. It's such an iconic scene even at this point.
The first one comes to the toilet, pukes, and then the girl pukes on top of her,
Don't
all over her hair.
look at me.
Don't fucking look at me.
It's like lava coming out of me. It's so.
She's up on the sink too. Oh my gosh.
And they're throwing up and shitting there, and it all accumulates to Maya Rudolph running into the street and shitting in the middle of the road, and just people driving by. She's just like passing.
That's the perfect way to end that scene too, because she's in the wedding dress, and it's a beautiful wedding dress.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, but she gets in the middle of the street. And she just crouches down and just shits in the dress.
Yeah, in the middle
What's
of the road.
worse than that, dude? Especially as the store owner, you got to look at that and go, well, that's not right.
Yeah, well, she was already pretty pissed about the bathroom and everything else. But yeah. That scene's great. And the airplane scene is so... It's so well written, and it's so funny, and it just
works
keeps
with the
giving.
characters,
It
too.
just keeps giving. Where you think you could end it after the first, because she goes on an airplane and she gets like sleeping pills or whatever because she's afraid to fly.
But first,
Helen
she
gives
has
her that.
too much pride. Annie has too much pride to let Helen buy her first class seat on the airplane.
So
So
she's gotta
she's
go
the
sit.
only one
Yeah.
who sits in coach because she wanted to buy her own ticket.
But she ends up getting way too high and like sneaking in the first class, and the help me, I'm poor, when they're like trying to get her. It's so I say that all the time when I can't afford something, but it's so. And Stove, the flight attendant. Well, my name is Steve. You can tell them. Yeah. What is that? That's not a name. It's an appliance. Well, it's Steve. So yeah, it's so good though.
And then the ma'am, we're gonna give you 3 seconds to get out. 3 seconds, you're setting me up to fail practically. Like all of those scenes were all the dialogue.
Melissa McCarthy with the air marshal, who ends up actually being is her husband.
Is her husband in real life,
but who ends up actually being an air marshal the entire time.
Of course. And the whole time too, he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea.
I'm gonna take a nap. Okay, I'll take first watch. Nope, not an air marshal. So don't have to take a watch. But yeah, it's a really,
they work
really
well
funny
with each other too.
Oh,
I thought a husband-wife duo. I thought they were really funny.
And say what you want about Melissa McCarthy, but as far as this role, she really is like the female Chris Farley. Yeah. I mean, just how
honestly,
and she's crazy athletic for her build. She is crazy, and especially in the airplane scene when she just throws her leg up.
Yeah,
she is unbelievably athletic, and the way with like the slapstick, the way she's really in control of her body, you can tell it's very, very funny.
And this is not the only film where she, kind of showcases her athleticism.
No,
she's had other films like that spy film where she's running, she's diving, she's jumping on people. You could tell it's not a double. I mean, unless she's tumbling down a hill or something.
Yeah, no, I don't believe. I don't think they'd throw her down the hill.
No, I don't think so either.
It seems unethical. But that seems really good, and the engagement party when they're first meeting all the bridesmaids, and it's again Melissa McCarthy, and she's telling the story of how she fell off the cruise ship, and she's like, "Yeah, I broke a lot of shit." She's like, "I kind of pinballed going down." Shattered my whole leg. She's talking about the story. Yeah. And she's like, met a dolphin down there. And the whole time she's like, really? She's like, yeah, he talked to me spiritually. And it's the longest story of all time. It goes on for like 8 minutes. She's just but it feels so like improv.
Oh, definitely.
She's just rambling on. And then the husband bit where they kept going back to her like, oh, this is your husband? And it'll be some random old guy. He's just standing by. No. They kept going back to it. They went twice, and it was a different old guy. And he's just standing. It's so funny. You got to see it, but it is very, very funny.
I love the scene too when Annie, like she's on like her last hair, her last leg. Like she cannot stand anything anymore. She's working at the jeweler shop, and that teenage girl comes in.
That was really good. She
just goes something along the lines of "Shut the hell up, you twat," or something like that, or you cunt.
Yeah.
A cunt. Yeah, that's what it is. And
it gets her fired. Yeah,
everyone just kind of stops and just looks at her in amazement. And sure enough, she loses her job.
The argument like lead up to that was hilarious. It goes on for a really. It
does.
Where she's just arguing with a 13-year-old girl because she wants to come in and get best friends forever, but it's right after that her and Maya Rudolph had the big fight or whatever. So she lets that little girl have it. She calls her a whore at one point. I think.
She does.
She mimes that she's just blowing a bunch of dudes. She's like a 13-year-old girl. I can see why she got fired.
Well, understandable. Yeah. You gotta show some professionalism.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What did you think about the police officer?
Oh yeah, he did awesome.
Yeah, I actually liked it.
Michael. It's Chris O'Dowd. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. That's the thing about this film is like all those characters really work. Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph, I mean, they're obviously friends in real life, but their friendship is so organic and feels so real even on screen when they're like both like when they're sitting early on in like the cafe before she tells her that she got married and they're talking about John Hamm and she like has shit in her teeth and stuff. She's like, well, I don't need dental work. It all seems so organic and it's so funny. But yeah, even the relationship with her and Chris O'Dowd, the cop. Like the scene, it's a really good, the gas station scene where they share the baby carrot. It's a really good scene. They're talking about how he would want a wedding. It'd be like a carnival or whatever. Yeah, it's really good.
When I like the writing aspect of it too, where they met together with the whole taillight being out. You know, that's how they initiated their relationship. And then, all the debauchery that goes on, they're not together. And then she gets in a hit and run. Some random guy rear-ends her.
She doesn't have any brake lights.
She doesn't have brake lights.
Zero brake lights.
Which is so irresponsible. But it was also a metaphor for Annie to just get her life together. And then
it was a metaphor. Her life was shit. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, everyone saw that because she just had the break because she was super poor, and that was the whole thing. Is Helen came in and was super fucking rich.
Great at organizing.
The engagement party is hilarious where they're giving everyone puppies.
Yeah,
and then because a big fight happens. It's a really good scene where there's a giant cookie and like a chocolate fountain involved. But
and
but the
that
scene
was-
when she's driving the car and she's crying and she looks over and Melissa McCarthy's in the car and she's like, yeah, she's like 9 puppies. She like kept going back and she's like, fuck
Like, how many puppies are you bringing to this thing?
So funny, dude. And she just like kept
great.
going back and stealing puppies.
Well, I thought it was hilarious too because remember Annie originally early on tells Helen about the Parisian themed party and she goes, whatever.
Yes.
And then it comes back later on and she puts that themed on and Annie just shows up and she's furious about it.
Oh yeah,
She's pissed off because her rival
she
just
spent like
went up there.
she spent like $20,000 on a fucking engagement party, and she gave her the gift of to Paris.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, who gives her your best friend a full-on paid vacation to Paris?
They're not
That's
even best
wild.
friends.
Well, yeah, they're not even
that was the whole
acquaintances.
thing. That was the whole thing. It's like they spent. The whole thing is she wanted to be the maid of honor. Helen did Rosebird's character.
Well, it was a competition too. They're just very competitive. It's a
Yeah.
competitive nature.
Yeah, and Kristen Wiig Annie, she couldn't compete because she wasn't fucking mega rich. But I like because it showed both sides. It showed both sides of Helen where she wasn't that one-dimensional, just bitchy character. It showed her like with her stepkids. Remember, they were fucking assholes.
Yeah, but great kids.
Yeah, real nice. Mary's like,
nice.
fuck off, Helen.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, another quarter in the swear jar. And Kristen was like, yeah, great kids. Those kids were fucking. That's a funny scene, too, in the
Hellions.
tennis scene. Where she's like yelling at her partner, get your shit together, Christine. She's like almost crying. But yeah, I like the writing where it showed both styles. Because it ends up building where like they become friends at the end.
Well, right, and Helen's not like a super villain in this or a comedic villain in this where she's just bad. Like
She's just
not
never really
one-dimensional.
had friends because she's
Because
fucking-
she's just good
rich
at
and-
organizing.
yeah, exactly.
And people just it's kind of fucked up. You know, you kind of feel for Helen towards the end because you realize like no one really is friends with her. They just kind of bring her along because she's good at planning events and
Yeah.
organizing and putting things together.
But if she wasn't so goddamn miserable,
Yeah.
people wouldn't mind being
lighten up
around
to her a
her.
little bit.
But at the end, we get that where they all become friends or whatever, and she really stops becoming such a bitch at the end.
Yeah, she does, and good
Yeah.
for her.
She,
you know?
yeah, they end up getting the cop back. Remember, her and Helen Rose end up going and driving the car, and they're trying to like break a bunch of laws to get him to pull him over, but they can't.
They can't.
It's hilarious. What do
And they keep going past him.
The low rider, they put rap on. Like
Yeah.
he was gonna arrest him.
And then the funniest thing, because he hates littering, so they
Yeah,
litter, and
he's
he's
just
like,
throwing
"Oh
trash
my
on
god!"
But yeah, they finally get him back. And then we get to probably the last scene where the cameo from Wilson Phillips. They all finally sing at the end, and it's pretty funny.
It is.
They sing, and they get the actual members of Wilson Phillips, the band, to come on, and they sing. They sing "Hold On," a
Yeah, they do.
classic '90s song, or maybe even early 2000s. But it's a good scene.
It is.
It's a perfect
Way to wrap the film up.
yeah, and Chris O'Dowd's character comes back, the cop, and it's funny because he like makes her ride in the back. He's like, actually, you can't ride in the front. It's against the law. He's like, I am on duty. Remember? He's like, actually, he came to the wedding, but he's actually still he's a horrible cop.
Yeah, not the greatest cop.
No, he's a horrible
Let
cop.
a lot of crime
It's Milwaukee.
slide past,
Yeah.
and it's not doing his job.
No, on the job,
On the
hanging
job,
out at
hanging out at
weddings.
wedding,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not.
I mean, geez, call this cop wedding
He
crashers.
probably won't have a job very long.
Probably not. He was probably fired the next day.
Yeah, it's very possible. But yeah, I mean, that's any other scenes that you have that you found hilarious?
No, like overall, like there were a lot of funny moments in this, and the cast was great. I do have an interesting fact. Do you have anything else?
I got to bring up one more scene. I forgot about it, but it's the scene where Kristen Wiig's character goes on like a date, and she goes to remember the guy's house, and the little kid, he's got a son, and the kid's really fucking weird. It's
Oh, that's
so
right. Yeah.
damn funny. It's the creepiest kid. She sits down, and what's the first thing he says? He's like, "Are you afraid to die?
Are you afraid to die?"
She's
Yeah,
like,
she's
"What the
what?"
And he's just rambling on, and the kid is so perfect for the role. But he's like, he just keeps going. He's, "Oh, my grandma died there. Died where you're sitting." She's like, "Oh, right here, right here." She's like, "Yeah, right there where you're sitting." And he goes,
And he's so nonchalant about
"He's
it.
the
too.
creepiest kid." And he goes, "You want to see me dance?" And he puts on like 1930s swing jazz or something, and he does the weirdest dance. It's such a good scene. But it's a really small scene, but it's so damn. It feels like it's something right out of a Judd Apatow film.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, for sure, you could feel his
Presence?
his presence. Yeah, and he definitely had hands on this for sure. Especially what I heard was the shit scene is they didn't really want to do that, but Apatow fought for it. He said you got to do it. He said
Okay.
people are gonna love it.
Well, the people did love it.
Yeah.
It is.
It arguably won him an Oscar. You know, you
and
can't
it's the
say
staple for
you
the
can't
film.
say that scene did it, but yeah, it's definitely the most iconic scene of the film.
Here's that one interesting fact too. Did you know that Universal was interested in making a sequel to Bridesmaids?
I did, yeah.
I mean, of course they wanted to, but Apatow said no. Said not going to happen. You're not going to make a sequel to this.
Yeah, it doesn't really work, you know. It doesn't warrant for a sequel at all.
But I respect that.
Unless
because it's really easy to cash in on that second one.
yeah, but
you know.
Apatow, he's not really
He's not looking to
he's
cash
not
in
doing a
at this
40-year-old
point.
version too. I mean, he's never done sequels.
I mean, you could have though for a brides you could have taken Bridesmaid and turned it into The Hangover and basically done the same story in three different
The
ways.
only way I can see doing it is, if each person got married. Like now it's
now
Kristen
it's-
Wiig's character
right.
getting married.
Or
but
Melissa
again, you know,
McCarthy
yeah,
getting
it
married.
never makes sense for those Hangover sequels. Like, I mean, that they're getting in this many shenanigans. It's fucking crazy, right? And it really, for the kind of movie that Bridesmaids is, for them to get in all those crazy things to happen again, it's just. It's stupid. You know?
I could
It
not
wouldn't
believe they
work.
made
No.
2 more Hangovers. I was like, what the
Oh, they
3 of
cashed
them?
in on
Oh,
that.
yeah, of course
They
they did.
fucking cashed in on that. And like most sequels, none of the ones after the first one are nearly as good as the first.
Nope. Unless you're talking Toy Story.
Toy Story. Well, I would still argue Toy Story 1 is one of the best Toy Stories.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
but all of them
I
are
can fight
close
with that. I
seconds.
can fight with that. Yeah, and Toy Story 2, though.
Yeah.
Toy Story. And
Toy Story 2 is
okay, well, there's been films, obviously. I'm saying for
but
the most
majority
part.
of time, yeah.
Because Lord of the Rings, you can argue, get better as well.
True.
And Godfather Part 2 is better than
And
Part
Star
1.
Wars.
Yeah, exactly. New Hope. New Hope is never anyone's favorite.
No. But Empire Strikes Back is
There you go.
everyone's,
It's everyone's
favorite.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that is Bridesmaids.
That
If
is
you
Bridesmaids,
haven't
yeah.
watched it, I don't know what you're doing. You might be like Mason,
Yeah,
where you
you might
need
be.
someone just to shake you and say, "Watch this."
Wake up.
Wake up. 'cause
Wake
you've
up,
been
you
sleeping,
bastard.
brother.
Yes,
You've
you
been
have.
Get your head out of the sand.
Yes.
Things are happening in this world. But yeah, are you happier that you watched it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. We actually got the projector outside.
Oh.
We set that up, watched it on the big screen. You know, the whole family was out there. Everyone was laughing, having a
Yeah,
good time.
it's a good film you can watch with everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
it's adult, obviously.
Well, yeah, but we have all adults in this house.
Oh yeah, I know. I know you know. I know, but
No
I'm
little
saying,
kids
I'm
were
saying you
watching
can
this.
damn watch it with probably a 10-year-old, and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
There's some sexual innuendo
There
stuff.
are, but the kids ain't
Especially
gonna
with
get
John
it.
Hamm's character. He's a real asshole.
Jeez, man.
He's
What a
played,
tool.
He's played a Don Draper and everything.
Well, he is good at it.
That I know. That's my problem with him. He's like, you got to play something else. I hated Alec Baldwin forever because he always only played assholes.
Yep.
So it could ruin an image for someone.
It can.
But
It can.
Don Draper.
Yep.
He's a fucking dick.
Well, overall, recommend Bridesmaids. How about you, Cash, obviously?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Watch it.
All right.
It was well worth the Oscar. I still can't believe it. An Oscar for best original screenplay. That's usually like a thriller or something that's got some clever twist or something. That's how good this writing was. So that should be enough.
Alrighty. Well, that is our review for Bridesmaids. If you guys are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification as we drop videos on our channel every single day. If you're listening in audio format, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher, anywhere you find podcasts. Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause. And until next time.
Bye.